to a man? How can you know how
I
to
never
treat
said
a
that you
husband without talking to
let's
husbands?
be clear, because I don't think you listening to me. I never once
I'm
said
listening.
that you don't know what men want. Okay, I have said repeatedly that you need to know what men want. You need to know their desires. This question is, do you take relationship advice from men? And I said no. So you don't. I mean, there's a difference between knowing what a man wants, knowing his desires,
No, the question is,
and all of those things.
should women take relationship
That's
advice
right.
from men?
Should women take
Not you
relationship advice?
specifically.
Right. And so here's the thing. I don't think that women should take relationship advice from men because I feel like people like Derek Jenks, it's another man named Ace, it's the men who take advantage of women. They tell women whatever they want to hear. And then what they do is program women to be like what they think women should be
That's
like.
only like 0.2% of the men that's out here. There's a bunch of men out there.
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book. You know what time it is. Yeah. We're dropping part 2 of Should Women Take Advice from Men? Relationship experts. Should they take the advice of men? Relationship experts. We're doing part 2. If you haven't watched it, part 1, go watch it now. We are reviewing a YouTube channel called, I think, Le Peef Talk Show, which is really, really good. I like some of the stuff. I like the fact they're having open discussions. Whether you agree with them or not, they're having open discussions, and I like that they've got, you know, women and men on the panel discussing. It's about to get tight. My personal thoughts in terms of this little section here, you might have just heard them just quickly speaking, is that, you know, I think it's good to take advice from men. I don't think it should be the sole amount, but I definitely believe that you should take some level of advice from men, because it gives you a bit of an angle in terms of what they're about, right? Like each generation's a little bit different too. Should that be the be all and end all? No, you know, I don't think that should be the be all and end all. What I would say is that, you know, also listen to the women that are successful in their marriages. What did they do to become successful in their marriages? That's a key thing, right? Because a lot of the relationship experts, including myself, let's say I don't say experts, but people that talk about relationships per se, even myself, I'm single, right? I'm not married. So it's invaluable when you hear information from somebody who's married. Like, I speak to married people all the time, right? You see guys come on my channel. We do lives with married people every Tuesday. And whenever we talk about, you know, marriage, I like listening to their stories. I like listening to what they bring to the table. I like listening to what they talk about and discuss, because when they discuss their viewpoint, you realize the battles that one faces. And therefore, you know, it's more than just, oh, be pretty and be feminine. It's more than that. Those are the things that attract people, right? Because I guess obviously on my channel, I'm more invested in not just the attraction. I'm more invested in the maintaining than the attraction. I mean, if you go to dating coaches, your AMSs and your Kevin Samuels and all those kind of people, they're going to help you attract, but not maintain. So it's good. You can attract. You'll find a person that will come towards you, but can you maintain? And I always say that no point buying a Ferrari, you don't have the level of resources to maintain it. No point, right? It's all well and good that you got it, but can you maintain it? But I think listening to men is of some benefit, but it shouldn't be the be all and end all. The buck shouldn't stop at that relationship expert. Get other people's advice. Always good to have a holistic view of things as well. Let's play a little bit more of the clip, and let's get into the conversation.
But
that's probably giving some good information.
I'm not saying those are the only men. Those are two examples.
Right, but we're talking about women as a whole. You know, should women take relationship advice from men?
And I said no.
None whatsoever. Okay.
I said no.
Anton, should women take relationship advice from men?
Yeah, I think that women should primarily take relationship advice from men. But there's a caveat to that. They should take relationship advice from alpha men. They should take relationship advice from great men, from kings, from winners. And the thing about
now, here's my first issue here. Name one alpha male, king, winners who have successful marriages. If you can point out someone who's got a successful marriage, let them come forth and let's discuss how we keep maintaining. Because attaining is not an issue. I keep saying this. How do we maintain? That's why the likes of Derek Jackson was really, really good, because you need to enter the feminine energy to be able to maintain, because the feminine energy deals with receiving and deals with the emotions. As a man, you need to be in touch with your emotions. It's a relationship. You can't go the whole relationship without dealing with your emotions. So there has to be some level of feminine energy, if you want to call it that, in regards to your relationship, because you need to be able to access those parts of you that help sinew and attach yourself to your partner on a deeper level. So if we're talking about alphas and kings, listen, alpha pack people, we know already they got problems. Alphas, kings, winners, we know they have problems. Winners want to win. Alphas want to lead without really consultations. Kings do whatever they please. So it's like, if we talk about those kind of people, we need to be very, very clear. If they're going to give relationship advice, it's going to be detrimental to the rest of the field, because they think completely different to everybody else, because they're the top of the food chain.
It is that a lot of women are subjecting themselves to dudes that act like women. So when you see these people like Derek Jackson, they are a reflection of other women's values. These are simps that validate women in order to try to justify or sell a book or get browning points or make themselves feel better about whatever it is that they're doing, or, you know, but these are the type of guys that are not leaders. They are often in the phone, and you'll see one or two slip through. You'll see a Derek Jackson slip through. You'll see a whatever these other type of dudes slip through. But ultimately, it is.
I don't know if you, okay, so maybe you don't, maybe you guys are not aware as well. Some of the people that are on like I say, manosphere and all those things, have you seen any of them married? Have you seen any of those guys married? You haven't. Do you know why? Because they don't get married. Because that mindset does not lend itself to a person who's going to get married or be in long-term relationships. The viewpoints of alphas, kings, and winners, those who are manosphere, men go their own way, oh, women are the problem, those kind of people that always blame women, they never get into long-term relationships. Here's why. You can't. Until you learn how to submit to a woman, you won't be able to. Let me say it again for you. Oh, I'm going to snap this. Until you learn how to submit to a woman, you will never be able to go into it. Right? What's the submission here? The submission is that you love your wife. A lot of men don't know what love is. That's the problem. And if you want to talk about love, that's where God comes into play. He lets us know from jump. Let me show you what love is. The Bible lets us know in Romans 5 that he sheds his love abroad through his Holy Spirit. So there's a way that God even directs his love to us. He shows us love. He says, we should love our wives as Christ loved the church. There's a way to love that is sacrificial. So when it comes to women submit to us by showing respect. They submit to us by showing respect, which is why I said I will never marry a woman who doesn't show me respect. Never. I don't care how fit you are, how encouraging you are, how funny you are. It doesn't make a difference. If you don't respect me, I'm never entering a relationship with you. I'm never gonna do it, bruv. Like, I've learned my lessons. I'm not doing it again. Because both parties need to submit. She needs to submit to being respectful towards you, and you need to submit by showing love. So yes, you do have to enter in the feminine, because the love part, when it talks about dealing with our emotions, part of it is partly action, which is the masculine, and also partly emotions, which is the feminine. You need to access both. Without it, there's no long-term relationship that will last.
You do need to subject yourself and humble yourself, and I use that word all the time. I'm so glad that Kev said it. And the weird part about it is that you see, like, when Unc talk, because I talk to him pretty regularly. I talk to him very often. We interact with each other. We talk about money. We talk about certain assets that we have. We talk about the different things that we buy that add value, whatever. We talk about real life stuff, because my circle and the people that I associate myself with are high value, right? But when Unc talks, I be quiet and I listen, right? I have mentors too, even though I'm high value. And the whole idea is that when you're able to move a certain type of way, or you're able to identify other people that add value, I'm not trying to overtalk them. I'm not trying to get my point across. I'm not trying to do any of that. I listen and I pay attention and I learn, because it's so much that he's taught me. And ironically enough, when I speak, when we talking and we interacting on a personal basis, he does the same thing with me. But my point is that these are characteristics from guys that are at the top of the totem pole and move a certain type of way, and they can really give you some insight if you humble yourself long enough to actually receive the information. Often at times we see this and we see people that say no, I would never, or no, or whatever, and nobody in particular, but often these type of people are not successful.
And what's interesting is, and these successful people, how many of them have good successful marriages? Again, we're not in the, you see, if and ladies need to pay attention too, because you're also part of the problem. You're going after men whose character are not formed. You go after men whose characters are not formed. You let their bank balance, wallet, their gifts giving, okay, the fantasy of a luxury lifestyle begin to blind you from the obvious truth. Character is missing. And character is important because it helps to show you what kind of person that person's going to become in the long run. Character is important. And so when we're dealing with relationships, like you notice that in that section that he spoke about Unks, him and Unks talking and everything, nothing was mentioned about relationships, all to do with the fact that they were successful. Well, if they want to be successful, that's a different kind of scenario. If I want to be successful, that's a different scenario. How do I become successful in a relationship? I know, again, we're coming back to this point. Attaining is not maintaining. Let's get it through your head. Ladies, I hope you're listening. Ladies, I hope you're listening. Do not be getting into these spaces to be attaining only. It's about maintenance, which is why Kevin Samuels makes no sense to me, because, okay, once you've attained, what do I do after that? How do I maintain it? You know, how do we work out healthy issues? Or how do we work out issues in a healthy way? How do we deal with toxicity? How do we deal with issues of boundaries in a relationship? We never get that discussion because their discussion is about attaining. And so here, he's talking about how women should be more listening. And I agree that women should listen, right? Because it will help you learn whether you want to be with that person or not. Listen, if you listen long enough, you will hear that man string his own self up into a madness, or whether he will free himself and put himself into your good graces. So as a woman, yes, you should be listening rather than talking. Yeah, you should. You should listen more, because the onus is on you to be able to choose the right partner. Just like he's choosing you, you're choosing him. So if you want to find out about him, listen, and listen well, and you'll find out your answers about whether he's a madman or not.
These are people that have a lot of pride. They have a lot of ego. They have a lot of what they ain't gonna do, and they'd rather be broke than, or rather be by themselves, or whatever. If you know, whatever alternative, or you know, the ulterior thing that they said that they wouldn't subject themselves to. These are the people that often die alone, are unhappy, and or they have to settle for a certain type of guy or a beta guy who really at this point in his life is just waiting to wake up. And so when I coach guys, I coach some of the dopest dudes I've ever seen in my life. And I'm talking about millionaires. When I coach women, I'm coaching some of the most successful women in their relationships and their real life that I've ever seen in my life. And you know what they all have in common? They listen to men, real men that's at the top of the totem pole, alpha men that are successful in multiple phases of their life. And the ones that usually find themselves, because you'll see somebody slip through the cracks here and now, of somebody that get lucky, or they marry somebody early enough, or whatever like that. The ones that usually are the ones that's arguing on all of these chats and Clubhouse and Facebook and Instagram or whatever it is, the ones that's the biggest advocates are usually the ones that's the least successful in their relationship. So to answer your question, JR, they absolutely should be subjecting themselves to and listening to a certain type of men that can give them the information that they're going to need in order to be successful.
Keyword is certain.
I like I like that point that he made there. He said obviously he's coaching people, in successful women in relationships, and I like that point, right? I like that point, and I think that point makes sense to me, you know, coaching people in their successful relationships. Again, I hope that it's about, you know, healthy relationship dynamics and not things that are just going to make things easier for the man. I hope that these are healthy dynamics. And the reason why I say that is because when I look at the relationship between church and God, the onus actually more is on the men. It's going to be so peak. As much as women are supposed to submit to their husbands, the onus and the pressure really relies on the man. What do I mean by that? If you're supposed to love your wife like Christ loved the church, there's a level of sacrifice that you cannot comprehend. there's a level of patience and endurance you've got to endure. There's a level of death to self that is included. There's a lot of training that goes involved in it. There's a lot of kindness that goes in it, compassion, that goes into that as well. Of course, you want to make sure you choose the right partner, man, then, because you're going to make your job so much harder. But as a man, you are given a responsibility. So if you want to be a leader, there's a responsibility. Responsibility is to love your wife like the church did. And so I hope that's what they're leading towards as well. But I like his point that he made there.
Certain men, not all men.
That's why I said bet.
Nick, should women take relationship from advice from men?
I'm gonna say it depends. Like I'm just not randomly gonna take relationship advice from a man. Now, if it's a man that I am interested in, absolutely, because this is a man that I want to get to learn. This is a one that I want to get to know. This is a man that I want to get to know what he likes, what he doesn't like.
Sis, the question was, should women take relationship advice from men? And you're talking about a man that you're interested in. He's not going to be giving you relationship advice. He's going to be telling you this is what I like and what I don't like. That's slightly different from relationship advice. You know what I mean? So I don't know if it may be just confused about the question, but yeah, anyway.
If the interaction is going to be. So yeah, I'm very much open when it comes to that. But just a random guy, no. I'm not, because I don't really see a benefit in it, because and I guess I don't see a benefit in it because I'm not really in that position where I care to learn. Let's just say it in that particular way. I think when I am being approached by a man, or if I start to talk to an actual guy at that particular moment, then I want to learn that particular guy. I want to learn what makes that particular guy tick. I want to learn everything that I need to learn about that particular guy.
Okay, I do get that. So what she's saying is that she wants to be able to understand, I guess, specifics, dealing from a very tailored position where each guy that she meets, she wants to learn about that particular person, how he ticks, how he moves, and everything like that, which I understand. I think, though, there are base attributes that most men will adhere to, like I said, but and it's the way that a woman will interact with those base attributes, kindness, gentleness, meekness, soft words, there's I would say even like, the way that she encourages, the way that she even, covers in certain areas and stuff like that. So there were so many different base kind of attributes that I think a lot of men would like to deal with, on a regular basis. But yeah, I mean, I hear a point, a tailored approach also is very, very important in terms of learning that man for herself.
Wants his happiness, what he needs, this, what he wants. We have this. Because this is a person that I may potentially be investing in, right? So I want to know everything about you. But even when we go back to that Derrick Jacks, even when listening to him and how he pandered, it just wasn't. It wasn't in me. You were just saying unnecessary. The stuff he was saying was so unnecessary and so just one-sided. Everything was just one-sided when it came to him. So I wouldn't have never listened to that. Like I only, and even with my mom. My family, I don't. I looked and I saw my grandmother serve my grandfather, right? I saw that. I saw my grandmother always have food on the table for my grandfather. No questions about it. Even though my grandmother could make her own money, she never worked, and my granddaddy took care of it. You right? But it was a certain order she had to live by. She was miserable when he died. She didn't remarry again, not because she loved him so much. She said to me, in her quote words, "I did my time and I'm not going out and get another owner." She felt owned for 40 years. So this is the thing. You say
and so this is where there's a big problem here now, is that the old school traditional roles of male and female, what it did is it restricted a lot of women from actually living their life. And this is the funny thing, Christ never asked that. This is why I keep saying it. Christ never asked that. What he did ask for is that we submit ourselves to him, to give us the strength and the courage, and also the submittance to him, to guide us along the way of when we're going our relationships. Because you know, you want to go traditional, be like, yeah, my wife should always cook, and then you don't have the mindset or the foresight to be like, okay, you know what, my wife has gone to work today. Let me cook today. I've come home early. Let me cook today. Nah, that's a simp move, man. That, you know, that's a simp move. But it's like, no, but you see, there's a partnership that should be developing. And this is something that I always try to see whenever I'm dating somebody, I'm trying to see, do you have the partnership mindset? Because a partnership mindset seeks that we cover each other in different places where we're weakest. It covers us in places where we feel we can't do. And so when I look at certain things, I'm like, but you know, a partnership means that, okay, there's certain areas where, see, and that's why I'm saying that traditional kills everybody. Because it kills a man as a provider because he may not be able to do it all the time. It kills a woman because she's not a traditional woman to cook and clean. And obviously we're in 2021 now. So you staying at home, maybe you got an intelligent brain. You don't want to stay at home. If you've got a mind that is brilliant, you might not want to stay at home. You might want to be in the workforce, or you may want to set up a business at home. But then that takes away from you being at home. So it's like, we need to be able to work together as a partnership and find out what is it that you're wanting and needing, where are you going, what's your ambitions, what's your goals, and work together as a partnership to see how best we fit together. Because me asking you to stay at home in the 21st century when you've gone and got educated, you've gone and studied and spent so much money on your education, for you to sit at home, you may not want to do that. You may not want to do that because you've put in so much hard effort into that arena. You want to be able to utilize the skills that you have. And this is why God is important, because what he does is he removes the scales of ego and pride in men that try to uphold a traditional view when you might not have a traditional woman.
A single woman can sit and she'll be unhappy, right? But sometimes married women sit and be unhappy as well too, for the greater good. You understand? She stayed for the greater good so her kids could see that. But she was miserable in that state. He took care of everything. She didn't want for nothing, but she was miserable. Because for her not wanting for nothing, it cost her everything. So when she lost him, she was happy about that. You understand? She was free, and she never got with anybody again. Not because she was very meek. So it wasn't because she just didn't want to have to be subject to another person abusing her in that particular type of way, using that power because he spent money, using that power because he takes care of the home, and holding that over her, walking the way he wants her to walk, dressing the way that he wants her to dress, talking the way that he wants her to talk.
Okay, well, I think that
I get it.
That's anecdotal.
So
I don't know if that's not every woman's experience, but I definitely hear that. And it's one of the things I've said about it as well. Like, you know, we can't glorify and be jumping off the buildings for everybody's relationship just because they work together, and just because they reach the end doesn't mean anything. We're trying to consistently, you know, we're trying to consistently be fulfilled each day, each and every day. And it's a scary thing to think to yourself, for 40 years, you're going to have married to the same person and you've got to spice it up for the next 40 years. It's a scary thing. You know, it's never easy. Never easy. Never easy.
When she told me that, when those came out of her words, her mouth, that she spent 40 years miserable, and she did it for the greater kids of her kids. She put up with this man infidelity and everything for her kids, so her kids can have their father in the house, so her kids can see two parents in the house. She put up with that misery.
No, I hear that, but listen, darling, they ask you a question: should women take advice from men? Okay, darling, you've given us a whole mad story, and I appreciate that, but what's that got to do with the question? You know what I'm saying? Like, and it sounds like there's a lot of pain on your side, sis. And I'm not going to be for that, but is that to do with the question? But I hear what you're saying, and so I'm not beating you down. I just want to be able to say, listen, hey, like, sis, like, can we keep it on the task? Can we keep it on the question? Because right now we're kind of slipping into anecdotal story, how you feel, like. Answer the question right now. You're speaking from a place of pain, and it's like not answering the actual question.
She put up with crying and nights because she decided that was the man she wanted to marry, right? So you want to say that a woman can sit and she's going to be unhappy because she's single because she doesn't want to choose. She doesn't want to. She chooses herself. And say that if she has to go through all of that, I'd just rather be by myself, doesn't necessarily mean that she got to be unhappy. Like you can't put every woman in a box and say that, well, this is the standard for all. If a woman is single, she got to be unhappy. That's a lie.
Do you want to be single? Like,
okay. Well, yeah. Well, that's anecdotal.
You don't want to be married ever.
I've already been married.
Okay.
I was married.
So you don't want to get married again ever?
No,
you don't want
I don't want to get. This is what y'all have to. Every woman ain't the same. Y'all making it seem like every woman walks the same. You say, Courtney.
Darling, why are you pressed? The question was about should women take advice from men? This has got nothing to do with the question, sis. So the fact that you're saying that you're not happy or you're happy to be single and not everyone's the same, fine. But can we get back to the question, sis? Like, you're leaking, emotionally leaking at the moment. You're emotionally leaking, and I understand that it sounds like you need therapy. Like, I'm not trying to bash. This is real spit because you're emotionally leaking. It's got nothing to do with the question at all.
That if a woman doesn't want to get married, she's unhappy. That is a lie. I was married and I was unhappy married.
Let me tell you.
It's not a one size fit all.
Hold on, Nick.
You gotta chill for a second. You gotta chill, okay? Because we're going back. This is not the topic, but we can go back, and I don't have no problem. This is why women will be unhappy. You were created. Your purpose is for a man.
Your purpose is not for a man. Your purpose is not for a man. Let me say it again for you, up and close and personal. Ladies, if you ever say to yourself, my purpose is for a man, you've lost it. Don't confuse Adam and Eve in the Bible for a purpose of a woman to be with a man. No. Absolutely no. There's a deeper meaning to Adam and Eve. But let me just say this straight. Your purpose is to worship God. The Bible lets us know in 1 Corinthians 7, okay, that anybody who gets married, their focus shifts to their family as well as God. But somebody who's single has a focus solely on God. Don't ever in your life make a mistake and think your purpose is for a man and vice versa. That's called worship. We don't worship men. You're not created for the purpose of a man. Whoa. I hope she's gonna correct it. You might have to do a part 3, because I'm gonna have to stop there.
Whenever you're out of your purpose, you're going to be unhappy. And as of right now, I know that you said that you got, divorced and stuff. But I'm not seeing a happy sister right now.
You're not here.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a woman that's happy. Yeah, because you're out of your purpose.
But ma'am, I was married.
Hey, let me pause it there. I think we have to do a part 3 because that's a deep topic. I need to break that myth, because this is why Jesus is needed. This is why Jesus is needed, so they can break myth. There is no woman was not created for a man. I want you to understand. Look, if you want to put it this way, yes, when Adam was lonely and God saw that he was lonely, he made a helpmate. But her purpose was not to be for the man. Her purpose, just like a man, is just to have a relationship with God the Father. That does not have to mean necessarily marriage. Marriage is a grace. It's an unmerited favor. Some people don't get married. Does that mean they're not in their purpose? Some people don't get married. It means they're not in their purpose. Whoa, sis, Courtney. Yay. You've been soaking in the man them chat too long, sis. I need you to come out of that chat. That's a level of madness I can't follow. Let's do a part 3, man. If you guys want a part 3, comment downstairs in the comment section. Let us know your thoughts and views. We will see you very, very soon. We appreciate you guys. Stay locked and stay loaded, baby. Little black buck, you know what time it is. Oh, you know what time it is. Hey, some people did.